happy Friday. I hope you've had a wonderful week and that you're going to have a fun Friday. We're going to begin our day today with looking at some reading. So let's talk about our objectives. Objective is what we are going to learn. I can use direction words. Our second objective is I can identify same and different, and thin and wide. Ooh, so we're doing a lot today. So let's start with our first objective here, using direction words. So today we are going to be using different direction words like across, around, next to, beside, in between. All these words that we've been practicing using, we're actually going to be using to help one of our characters from our story get through a maze. So that's going to be our first objective. Now, in order to use our direction words, we need to say them. So what are we going to need to use to help us with that? Our mouth. We're going to be using our mouth. We're going to be talking about our direction words, and that's going to be how we're going to be practicing to use them. So let's look at our second objective, to identify same and different and wide and thin. So thinking about identify, what does it mean to identify? To find, right, to find. So we're definitely going to need to use our eyes to be identifying, finding things that are the same and things that are different. So we're going to be seeing some pictures. We're going to be deciding what's the same about them and what's different about them, definitely using our eyes. And then we're also going to be talking about thin and wide. Remember, the other day we talked about thin and wide. So we could let's look at maybe some trees, right? So pretend I have a tree here. I could make a tree with a really wide trunk or a really thin trunk. So things can be the same, but what can be different about them is that they could be thin or wide. We could talk about their size, and when we're talking about thin and wide, we're talking about their size. So those are going to be what we're working on today. What I need you to do is get out activity pages 1 and 2 and meet me at the screen. Okay, TK, we are going to begin with activity page number 1. So get out this page, go ahead and put your name at the top, and then we're going to need an orange crayon to help us with our activity page here. So if you notice, we have our turtle here at the top, and he wants to get through the jungle to see his friend, the hippopotamus. So we need to help him get around all of these items that you see in the jungle. So I can see a few different things. Let's think about what we see here. I'm going to use my mouse here, see if you can see it. I see a tree, and I think I'll just point. It might be easier to see. So I can see some trees. One of them has a much wider trunk, and one of them has a thinner trunk. So remember, thin and wide. I can also see some jungle animals. We've got a zebra, a monkey, a parrot, a snake. I also see some huts here in the jungle. I see one with a big wide door and one with a thin door. And I can also see a big lake here. So now we're going to be using our direction words to help the turtle get around these things. And as we describe our different directions, we're going to be marking his path with our orange crayon. So right now you need your listening ears out to hear the different direction words, and then you need your orange crayon to mark your path. So let's begin. Find the turtle. So here's our turtle here. First, the turtle went to the tree. So we're going to help our turtle get to the tree by making his path here. So I'm using my orange crayon, and I'm helping the turtle get to the tree with the wide trunk. And then I'm going to stop. And let's hear our next word. Then he turned and went down. So our directions here are the turtle is turning and going down. So I see an arrow here. It's pointing down. So we're going to turn the turtle, bloop, bloop, and go down. Let's hear what happened next. He went between the tree and the hut with the wide door. Ooh, is that where we are so far? So I see we made our line in between the tree with the wide trunk and the hut with the wide door. So we did it right. So now we can keep going. Then he walked down to the pond. Oh, so we have to help him get to the pond. Okay, so we're gonna take our turtle here and show him the way. Ooh, he's going by the hut with the thin door until he reaches the pond. Ooh. Okay, so now we're at the pond, so we're gonna stop and listen to our next direction. He followed the path across to the monkey. Ooh, where's the monkey? Oh, there he is. So here's the monkey right here. So we need to take him all the way across to the monkey. So let's use our orange crayons to do that. So now he's going across the path, all the way to the monkey. And then we're gonna stop and hear what happens next. Keep my line the same. When he reached the monkey, he turned and went up to the zebra. Ooh, okay. So now that he's at the monkey, we have to turn him and go up. So I'm gonna take my orange crayon and show him going up to the zebra. And now we're at the zebra, so I'm gonna stop. He went around the zebra until he reached the snake. Oh, so I have to make sure I take him around the zebra. So I'm gonna use my crayon here and take him to the snake. There we go. Then he turned and went in the direction of the parrot. Ooh, so we need to follow the arrows to show us going towards the parrot. So we are gonna go this way towards the parrot, and then let's see what's next. Before he reached the parrot, he turned and went down, then turned again and went towards the hippopotamus. Ooh, that's kind of tricky. So he didn't go all the way to the parrot. He went down and then went towards the hippo. So let's show that with our crayon. So he went down, turned again, and then went towards the hippopotamus. Woohoo! So we helped him reach the hippopotamus. Now remember, our objective was to use our direction words. So now what I want you to do is to look at this like a map and to use your direction words to describe what the turtle did. And remember, when we describe, we have to use our mouth. So we're going to be telling what the turtle did. So for example, if I was going to use my map here to describe, I would say the turtle went across and then in between the tree and the hut with the wide door. Then he went around and went straight to the monkey. Then he went up and around the zebra, down by the snake, towards the parrot, down until he got to the hippo's path and followed the straight line to the hippo. So see, I used a lot of direction words to describe what the turtle did. So now you can try that. You can show your parents, show your siblings, describe what the turtle did. And then you can take a picture of this and send it to me. We're gonna move on to activity page number 2. Great job, guys. All right, we are on activity page number 2, and remember our objective for this page is to identify same and different and to identify thin and wide. So what we're gonna be looking at is our different pictures here. First, we're gonna think about what's the same about them, and then what's different about them. And then we're going to be looking for all of the wider things, and we are going to be underlining the wider things. Okay, so we're going to begin with our huts here. So what's the same about these? They're both huts. They're both about the same height. They both are about the same color. But what's different about them? One has a thinner door and one has a wider door. Now, which one has the wider door? Underline the one that has the wider door. So that would look like this. The one on top has the wider door, so we're going to underline that one. Great job, guys. Let's move on to our second picture, our two trees. Now, what's the same about these trees? They're both trees, they're both tall, they both have green leaves, but what's different about them? One has a wider trunk and one has a thinner trunk. Underline the tree with the wider trunk. So that would look like this. I underline my tree with the wider trunk. Ooh, it's kind of hard for you to see. Let's make that a little bit darker. There you go. Okay, let's move on to our last picture on the top row. We have two leaves. What is the same about these leaves? They're both green leaves. They both are plants. They both probably came from a tree. But what's different about them? One is thin and one is wider. We're going to underline the wider leaf. So do that now. That would look like this. That is my wider leaf. The one on the bottom is wider. Okay, we're gonna go to our second row. We're gonna start at the left side. We always go from left to right. I see two jungle animals here. What is the same about them? They're both animals. They both live in the jungle. But what's different about them? Well, one is a snake and one is an elephant, so that's different. And one is much wider and one is much thinner. We are going to underline the wider animal. Which animal is wider? The elephant, right? The elephant is a wider animal. So we are going to underline the elephant. Let's look at our next picture. Again, two animals. What is the same about these two animals? Well, they're both animals and they both live in Africa. Remember, that's where our story is set, is the jungle in Africa. What's different about them? Well, one is a zebra and one is a hippopotamus. Zebras live on land. Hippopotamuses are on land and in the water. And one of them is much wider. Which animal is wider? The hippopotamus. So we are going to underline the hippopotamus. And last picture here, we have two different kinds of boats, two different rafts. What is the same about them? They're both rafts. They both can float in the water. They're both the same color. They're kind of the same height. What about what's different about them? Well, one of them is much wider and one of them is much thinner. They're also kind of built differently too. One looks more like a raft, one looks more like a canoe kind of, a thinner canoe. Which raft is wider? The one on the left. Very good. This one is wider. Great job, you guys. I'll see you back here for handwriting and phonics.